crafty friends, and welcome to another video. Welcome to May's edition of Creating with Sketches. This is the video hop that I'm doing with Nicole and some other lovely and talented ladies here on YouTube, where we create some layouts based off of the Creating with Sketches class slash sketchbook bundle created by Allison Davis of Scrapbook Generations. So for this month, we are creating with the one-pager number 5, and I am loosely creating something that was inspired by option 11. So the base or the main sketch for this month has some flowers on the side, and it's kind of a vertical design, and you have vertical papers and then photos are in the middle. And so I'm gonna make that this time, but instead of flowers I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I also like the idea of having the photos span from top to bottom. Some of the options, I believe the original one did not have the picture span all the way from top to bottom. There's some spaces, but I have a few photos here that I wanted to use, so that's why I am doing that. I have this paper pack from, I believe it's called Paper Source. It's the one from Hobby Lobby, and it's all about graduation. The only big thing, that the problem I have with this collection, it's just it's so black and white, and that I need to have some color in there to, you know, add some other hints or value and color to it. So I am just auditioning some cardstock base, and I went with this craft. I thought that it was a really good neutral one, but it still has some pop of color instead of just the black and white. I'm also auditioning some papers. I wanted to get one that will be the main paper that the photos will go into, and then of course I will addition some strips that will go along on the right side. So a little bit about the pictures. These are pictures from let me think, it will be June of, no, sorry, it will be May of 2021. That is when my oldest graduated high school. And because we were still in a kind of a, well, it wasn't lockdown because it wasn't 2020, but we still had some, what is that word? I know I know it's gonna come to me, but there's still some limitations as to how we can come together as a group. My church, we call them ward, our church congregation decided that instead of having a graduation party for all of the kids that are graduating in high school, that we would just have what they call a drive-by. That whoever wants to drive by that graduate's house, they can, and then they can leave some gifts or just greet them a congratulations. And so Marcus was one of those graduates that year, and so he was able to have some visitors come through. And I thought that that was a lovely sentiment, especially since these kids didn't make the choice of having the lockdowns and having all of the different kinds of restrictions on them. And so I'm glad that there was still some ways for the kids to be celebrated and to be recognized for graduating high school. So I believe there were 5 pictures of the cars that drove by, and then just a 4x6 shot of him with all of his goodies that he got for that little drive-by. I am cutting down the strips that I wanted to use here, and I'm cutting them 1/2 inch. I don't know if that was actually the measurement for in the sketch, but I was just eyeballing and it just looked like 1/2 inch to me, so that's what I'm going to do. And then of course, like I said, I am going to cut this black piece of paper, and that will be the base of my photos. Now I could have, because my MO, you know, the usual thing that I do is that I would have a background and then I would cut another piece of paper to and then use that inside so that the background will actually frame the whole page. However, I found that if I do that, then I will lose some of the space for my photos. So I just decided to lay everything right on my background. I will create a little frame on it later, but with pen instead. So I don't know if you noticed, but one of the strips on the right was actually a very light dotted paper. By the way, I forgot to mention the paper pack that I used had black and white, but I actually used this paper pad already for his graduation pictures. And when I was creating that, I actually pulled some pattern papers that had different colors on there other than black and white, mostly orange and no, gold and blue, because that's the color of their school. And so what I did was I just left whatever paper that was left over from that project into the bag where this kit was, so that next time that I used it, I would still have those papers. So that's why you are seeing some other colored papers in this collection. It's not really that collection, but I just put it in there so that it will be my own collection. Okay, so if you notice the strips of paper, that middle one, the one on the left of the graduation cap, was actually, I was initially wanting to use the more subtle dot paper, but there was just too much white over there. So when I flipped it, thankfully, it showed a nice blue color on there. So that's what I am going to be using. And I like how that kind of broke apart the whites from the papers that I'm adding on the side, on the right side. So the sketch had flowers on the left side, but of course this is, I wanted it to be a more masculine page because of my son. So instead of flowers, I'm going to be using a banner punch. So I'm just using my EK Success banner punch, and then I'm just punching out a bunch of papers from the papers that I have in this collection, or in my own, I guess, graduation collection. And yes, I don't have a lot of paper, so I'm using some of them twice, but that's okay. And then I wanted to preserve this branding strip before I start punching some more stuff, so I kept that. And then I decided, well, why not I just add that to the layout so that it will add a few more design on the left side. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm noticing that I need to move some of the pattern papers so they're not close together. I am also counting them because initially I had wanted the title to say graduation drive-by. I don't have enough room to spell the whole graduation, so I just shortened it up to say graduate drive-by. I know that's not proper English, but it is what it is, and I'm just gonna stick with that. So I've decided that the title will actually go on those banners. The title in the initial sketch actually goes on the in between the most bottom photo and then the one right above it, but I didn't want to cover the photos too much, and I will actually put in part of my title on that side, but I am going to use the graduation, or place the graduate letters on the banner itself. I just thought that that would be a nice addition to the left side as well. Okay, so here I am. I'm starting to adhere things. I like what I'm seeing. Also, what I did was I punched out some yellow circles from just regular cardstock. And then I am deciding that before I adhere the banners, that I will ink up the edges. I didn't ink up the edges of the 1/2 inch strips. There was just too much work for me and just small. But I wanted this to have some inking on there so that you can see the differentiation between each banners once it's all laid out on the left side. I actually really think that the left side, having the banners go to the left instead of going down, was an interesting thing. I've never done that before, like as a whole row of them or whole column of them. So this is kind of interesting. Initially, I had wanted the black strip to show on the left side, but I'm noticing that if I butt the banners right on there, that there won't, it would be kind of imbalance having so much more space on the right than the left. So I'm just gonna tuck in the banners on the edge of the photo. Of course, that's gonna cover my pattern paper on the left, but I'm okay with that. And then now I am adhering it. I don't know if you noticed, but I was counting it because I wanted to, as much as possible, make the spaces in between those banners as even as I can. And so I was making sure that I added the bottom and the top and the bottom first, and then the middle, and then kind of worked my way in between that way. Now I adhered some Paper Studio stickers on that circle, that circle punched, the yellow circle punched paper. And then I also decided that I'm going to add some pen stitching around it just to frame the letters a little bit more. And I'm just using my American Crafts fine tip pen for that. And I really like this stuff. I think I had, when I bought this, I had, there was a pack of 3, and I think I'm down to my last one because it's been a while since I purchased it. Anyways, again, I just like how it is. Now, I wanted to add these letters with some foam adhesive, but I didn't have a big one enough for this, and I only had like little ones, and I didn't want to like add too much and then have them peel off the back. I don't know. I just thought that it was a lot of work. And so I have these glue dots that they're not really foam adhesive, but they're thick enough that they do add a little bit of dimension. So going with the yellow title or yellow theme for the title, I decided that the drive-by would be with yellow as well. And so I found this script font in my stash that just kind of works. Now I gotta say, looking at it now, it feels like it's blending in the photos. It's not really showing off. If I were to do this again, I'd probably add just a strip of vellum there just so that it will stand out a little bit more, but it is what it is. It's a page that's done, and I'm not gonna worry about coming back and redoing any of that. So that is part of my title. I got to make sure that that dot in the I is there as well. And then I had matted my main photo. Again, I have a 4x6 photo of my son, and I decided that this time around I will put in the effort to add some foam adhesive to this. And so I'm just kind of looking, and I found some strips of foam adhesive, but it wasn't enough. And so I am going to go with my small ones, my itty bitty ones, and just slather the back with some small squares. Now, was it tedious? Of course it was, but I was already committed because I added that one piece of longer foam adhesive, so might as well continue the whole thing. But of course, again, in the big scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal, but when you're kind of in the flow, you don't like those kinds of things to bog you down. And so that was kind of a bummer. Now, off camera, I have pre-printed my journaling on just white cardstock. And on the sketch, it showed that the journaling was in strips. So I did follow that as well. And I put it in kind of the same area vicinity on the layout, which is on the top of that angled photo. And then I did decide that I would punch a few more yellow circles and then punch out some words from one of the pattern papers from this particular paper pack. And I'm going to use that as part of my visual triangle cluster that I am going to be doing for this particular layout. Okay, so if you are new to my channel or you have not heard of this. This is the 5th month. Basically, me and Nicole and some other wonderful scrapbookers have decided to come together and to create our own layouts based off of the Creating with Sketches bundle and class. We are a big fan of Allison Davis and Scrapbook Generations, and especially with her sketches. And so I just love this hop and how all of us are working with the same sketch, but we all have a different take on it. I also really appreciate this class or sketch bundle because it not only gives you the sketch, but it gives you at least 25 options of how you can take that sketch and make it your own, or add some differentiation to it. So I really like this, and I'm glad I'm able to participate in this hop. Okay, so we're just kind of in the final touches here. I added some stickers. I also added some line to create that frame around my craft cardstock. And then now I am adding some Nouveau drops that are more orangey really than yellow or gold, but it will do. I like how it adds a little bit more texture to the fairly flat or predictable layout. But here are my close-ups. Make sure you check out the other links of the scrapbookers that are participating in the hop in the link below. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.